Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. With me on the show this week is adult performer Ellis Camino. He is a tattoo artist. He's been a tattoo artist for 15 years. He's now doing porn. And here's the twist. He's doing both in his scenes. So he's either tattooing the person before they have sex, after they have sex, or during. He's an innovator. It's a whole new genre of porn. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about what it's like to do this kind of content, what it's like to be a male in the porn industry, what he's up to on his OnlyFans. We tell a couple crazy stories. He's a great guy. You're going to love it. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Ellis Camino.
This week's conversation.
Ellis Camino, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. This is great to be here. So I'm excited to be a part of this. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, because I like to be honest with the audience. We attempted this yesterday. We got some bits and pieces. There were technical difficulties, as there always are in the wonderful world of podcasting. If you're going to start a podcast, listen, take a nap first, because it's a full-time thing. Things will happen and they're out of your control. So we tried this once, went really well. This is attempt number 2, and I feel like it's going to be even fucking better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because now we got all the jitters going out. It's all dialed in, so it should be better.
Yeah. So, okay, people are tuning in and they're like, what is this fucking clown Dustin up to now? I never know what to expect. And here you are, right? You're the second man to be on the show in a solo capacity. I've interviewed a couple. I interviewed Nate Nasty. He was fucking awesome.
It's good people.
So you're in the pantheon of good dudes already with Nade. But for the audience who doesn't know you, they're not familiar with what's going on. Could you talk about who you are and what it is that you do?
I'm Ellis Camino. I'm an adult performer, and my specialty is tattoo content.
Tattoo content, yeah.
Yeah, I tattoo and smash. Sometimes during, sometimes before, sometimes after, and then we actually show the tattoo process, and then we show the actual finished tattoo.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is a lot already, and so people are like, okay, he does what at night? Like, so, okay. The process of this, let's talk about it. If you're tattooing sometimes before, sometimes after, sometimes during, I mean, do you ever fuck the tattoo up? Because you're a professional.
No. That's where I really, I mean, to me, it's not just the concept and the novelty of it. It's actually, I've been a tattoo artist for 15 years. So the tattoo, in my opinion, has to be as good as the scene. It has to all work together. You can't have a boo-boo tattoo with a great scene, or a great scene and a great tattoo and a bad scene. It has to work. I think that's what's most important about it.
Yeah, well, totally. There obviously, and you know this because you just said you've been in it for 15 years, but there's so much that's linked together with porn, with like rock and roll, with sexuality in general, with tattooing. And so I think, if you think about it, sex and tattooing, it does go fucking hand in hand, right?
It's kind of got that, it's people that are the rebels. They're living on the edge. It's that kind of environment. We're not, it definitely has that vibe. You hit that right on the head.
Yeah. And in the porn world, and it's not even, now it's way better. It's better now than it used to be. Right. But up until, I would say, the legend herself, Christy Mack, up until her, she was like the first like fully tattooed, face tattooed, like alt girl who came in and just was so good at what she did. Then I feel like that sort of created within the industry more than just a subgenre. It was like everyone was like trying to find their tattooed porn star. So would you agree that things changed after Christy Mack kind of came into the industry?
I think Christy Mack too, definitely Joanna Angel, definitely Suicide Girls. That really pushed that genre going full steam ahead, and it just kind of took off, and then it just became alternative, and it became it just a lot of people with tattoos weren't being really represented, and then now that they are, so now it's the next evolution in alternative. I mean, you look at like rock stars like Alice Cooper, and then Marilyn Manson comes along. Well, he just takes what Alice Cooper did and just takes it up a notch, redefines it, brings it to a next level. That's just kind of the same thing. So I think you're right with Christy starting it all, and then everything just kind of just piggybacking off of it, just creating this. Now it's a whole new thing now.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned Joanna Angel, another fucking just all-star right there, another legend. I mean, do you think what was the apprehension before Christy Mack to not have like tattooed alt girls in scenes?
It may not have sold. I mean, you're going back to a point where, I mean, like the dynamic, and I think the industry of porn has just changed and evolved so much from what it was at the start to what it is now, and different kinks and genres. And it just started, I bet you they thought it would make money, that people thought it was dirty. I mean, you never know. It's people with tattoos. Oh, she's got tattoos. Oh, then they want to. Maybe the fantasy back then was more, big boobs, blonde. I mean, remember that time in the 90s where all the girls had the ridiculous titties? I mean, that was a whole nother thing.
Yeah, the fucking Pam Anderson effect for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. You had, like Danny Ash and some of those big busty porn stars. You're like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, Jenna Jameson, obviously, again, one of the queens of porn herself. Like and then it did kind of switch. You're right. I think right around probably 2009, 2010. It feels like there was like a big switch towards more alternative.
Right, because it was getting more popular with Suicide Girls and things like that. Those things were coming out, and it just started pushing that envelope. It just, and then and another thing too is around that time too. Miami Ink was on TV. So now it's getting more mainstream. So now it's like, oh, that girl's really beautiful with tattoos. I would like to see girls with tattoos fuck.
Yeah, and dude, you mentioned Suicide Girls a couple times. Like they did such a fucking killer job, and still do, like such a killer job. But when they came out, like talk about innovation, right? They never made it feel like, hey, because I don't have any tattoos, right? But obviously, hot is hot. And they never made it feel like, hey, if you don't have tattoos, you don't belong here. You're a square. Get the fuck out. They really kind of embraced that. Everybody, come on in, right? Look at these girls and their personalities and their tattoos and their bodies and all the things. And it can be really, really, really sexy without sort of pushing people away. I think that was a huge stab.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is how it was taken, and its presentation really changed everything. It's funny you say that, because doing my content too, I'm body positive as well. So it's not about, we're not going for a specific type. We're not going for a specific look. We're going for certain. It's not certain body types. It's everybody. All inclusive, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking like I said, it like welcomes everybody in. That same mantle, that Suicide Girls, what they kind of started, and the Christy Mack mantle. I mean, imagine how many dudes like would never even dream of getting a tattoo, or just like Christy Mack obsessed in 2010. You know what I mean?
Like, want to keep up. It's kind of funny that you mentioned Christy, because like, I used to train at the same gym as her old boyfriend. I don't want to get into that story, but like, because I've met her a couple of times at the gym, and I was like, oh, she was super awesome, and then things with him, and I was like, holy smokes. And you mentioned, I was like, talk about art imitating life. I was like, I was just literally just thinking about her a couple days ago, and then you mentioned, I was like, holy smokes, dude.
I mean,
secrecies.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've seen her in so many interviews. I would love to have her on the show, and hopefully one day we will. And they always want to tell that story, what happened with her and her ex or whatever. But it's a powerful, insane story. But it's like, Christy Mack, when you listen to her talk just about her career and some of the ideas and concepts she had, like to market herself in the beginning, like fucking brilliant moves right from the get go, you know?
Yeah. So that's why, from what she's done now to tattooing porn has been the next evolution.
Yeah. Okay. So walk me and the audience who are just like, we've mentioned Christy Mack 7 times and they're like, Googling. Guys, listen,
we're just talking, we're conversationalists. Conversation goes where it goes.
Yeah. Don't stop listening or watching this. You can Google Christy Mack afterwards. Okay. Stay with us. This is going to be great.
So Christy Macks.
Walk me through the process of how this works. You're tattooing people like from the beginning. Like how did you get started? What does the process look like
for just tattooing or just for the tattoo content?
Well, you've been a tattoo artist 15 years. How did it come about to I'm going to tattoo women and fuck them, and maybe not that order, right? And what does it look like on a shoot day, like when you're going to do it?
Okay, so I didn't have any inkling about doing this at all. And then my friend Evilyn Ink kind of got me introduced to it, and she kind of said I'd be good at it, and she believed in me, and then it just kind of took on its own thing. So, I mean, I'm really grateful for her. I mean, it's been ups and downs, peaks and valleys to start, but I'm grateful for all the lessons that I've learned, and I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've had. I don't besmirch any of it. Whether a good experience or a bad experience just makes you who you are. So you have to evolve. Nothing's ever always perfect all the time. So basically a shoot day for me. So in advance, me and the other performer will go over drawings, concepts, ideas, placement, a little bit of what we're doing, the theme. And then the day of, I show up early. I set up the equipment, or if somebody's filming, they'll set their equipment up. I set up all my tattoo equipment. And doing tattoo content, there's extra sterilization procedures that we take to make sure there's no contamination. It's completely safe. It's safer than getting it in the shop. So I really make sure that is the most important. We don't want anything to go wrong with this thing because there's so many things that can, especially if you're playing and you're doing the tattoo. You want to make sure. So then we decide whether we're going to do it during, before, or after the whole thing. And then we'll talk about the setup, and then we'll go over some dialogue, maybe some skit stuff, and then we'll just roll the cameras and just start going from there. And then it just kind of happens. And then I'll put on some other cameras, and then the tattoo thing is its own separate entity. But if we're doing it like during it, it's sometimes that's a little complicated because you're in tattoo mode, then you're in the other mode, then you're in tattoo mode, and your brains and your physiology are like, what are you doing to me? It's two extremes at once. So I find it better to do it either before or after. If it's before, then like toward the end, you can start doing that stuff, and that's fine. But during it and everything is not always the best.
Yeah, I mean, during seems like it'd be incredibly difficult, yet if you could pull that off, I feel like that would be a hell of a feeling. So depending on where the tattoo is located, right? So how many times have you actually tattooed somebody while having sex with them?
Maybe 4, 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah. 4. Okay. 1 not like film related, and then 3 film related.
Yeah, so I mean, 4 times is that's crazy. And so, what were those experiences like? You're having sex with someone, and you're tattooing them. So I know you said your body is kind of, and mind are kind of like sex, work, like whatever. But
it's a total. I mean, for the person getting it, I mean, it's like extremes on both ends, like at the same time.
Yeah.
You're getting extreme pleasure, and you're getting extreme pain all at once. It's got to be a unique experience. And if you're into that kind of stuff, then it really, it's some get really off on it. And, some just like, the fact that they're going to get tattooed, they like getting tattooed. It's always, and sometimes it's a fantasy too, where it's like, they always want to fuck their tattoo artist, or have their tattoo artist fuck them for their tattoo.
Yeah. So one, there is that fetish / kink component to it, depending on the person who's getting tattooed while or during or before the sex, right? I think that's super powerful. And that's almost like a genre unto itself, right? Where they're getting off on the tattooing and the sex, but then you just mentioned this other thing and also like pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain and pleasure at the same time. And then all of that stuff is coming from the same place in the brain, which is fascinating. Right. But then you mentioned this other thing where, some women, and you've been in the game for 15 years on the tattoo end, and you could talk about, till you're blue in the face, and I hope that you do, right? But yeah, there is this fantasy that some women have, and I've heard this years ago when I was in the nightclub business. I used to hear this all the time, that like women, even if they never act on it or whatever, will masturbate to the idea of like fucking their tattoo artist. That's a huge, like, again, genre, subgenre, something that's going on in the average, I would say, tattoo fans brain. Like, so if you could talk about some experiences you've had, or maybe even some women who have mentioned that they have that fantasy, because I think it's really common.
Yeah, it's I've had it a few times. I mean, like usually afterwards, or like, sometimes with my girl, like if we were, I'll be tattooing her, then we just start getting naked and we're just tattooing each other, and all of a sudden it just leads to us fucking. So it kind of happens, you just, yeah, it's fun. It's wild. It's a fun time. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not something that we go after, but it's something that just happens, and it's fun, But that's the things about being a tattoo artist. We're outlaws. I mean, we're outlaw tattoo artists. We're the rebels. We're on the fringes of society. I mean, we're the people that put ink on people. I mean, we're skin artists. You have to think about that for a second. We're not already okay in the head in the first place.
Right. You don't have milk in your cereal. It's some other substance. Yeah, we get it. So, Jack Daniels probably, but a little different for each person, I assume.
I have a funny story about Jack Daniels. That's funny. We'll get to that later.
We will come back to that. Sure.
Ask me about the Jack Daniels story, because that shit's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is this horny thing, right, where it maybe from the person getting tattooed, from their side, like there are, I mean, as we know, right, if you're inexperienced in sex in the last 20 years, or maybe you're just a fan of porn, maybe you're a fan of women, but heterosexually, if you're a man and you're looking at women, you'll notice that a lot of the or if you're a woman and you're into women too, a lot of the tattoos are in the pussy region. There's a lot of ass tattooing that's been happening. Yeah. So I imagine there is like a factor of women going into a tattoo shop and having to get naked or partially naked to show that, and that to some people would feel exciting and or empowering, right? So like that's usually where most of those kind of fantasies come from. I mean, have you had experiences hooking up with people who came in to get tattooed?
I was usually dating the person at the time, so it wasn't like anything like that. Yeah. So it just kind of worked out that way. So I was usually dating the person at the time, and things kind of happen at after hours, you're tattooing her, it's like whatever, and then you just start, it happens. In the promo photo, that was actually my girl at the time. So that was our first date. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
First date.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's something. Yeah. Her and I kind of, her and I were pretty wild together, and it's just like, this is not gonna work. Gasoline and fire, man. It's just like, no, this is too much. And it really was. And that's the thing is, and she was already, I mean, her and I were very similar in a lot of ways too. So we understood each other, and that's what made it kind of scarier too. It wasn't just, there was definitely a connection there on a deeper level, and both of us weren't really looking for that. We're like, we just wasn't, it wasn't something that we wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
But, we always talk, or we're always still, texting each other every now and then. So it's not like we're completely out of each other's lives. I mean, I think about it from time to time, especially when I see that photo.
Yeah. Well,
How many first dates can you say that you went on a porn shoot with like a dude you just met 2 days ago?
Yeah, only 2. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Literally, we only knew each other for 2 days.
Oh man, those are some of the best fucking experiences though.
She went to the pizza place next to the shop I used to have in San Diego, and I would go in there. This is really funny. I'd go in there and I'd be looking at her, and she's like, oh, you look really hungry. What do you want? I said, everything looks really delicious. And she goes, I think you're more thirsty than hungry. I said, what do you got to drink then? That's just
nice.
how it went.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's funny. Yeah. And then I would do certain things, like one time I sent her flowers at random, just for whatever, just to fuck with her. And I signed a little card that she knew it was me and everything. And they arrived at her work and everybody was all fucking gassed up about it. And the guys are there like, oh, you got flowers. How lame. She goes, when's the last time any of you motherfuckers sent a girl flowers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You fucks. Yeah. Yeah. People underestimate just the notion of doing stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the one thing too about, like, just because I'm a tattoo artist and a porn star doesn't mean I'm sleazy or I'm a complete fuckface. But the persona of Ellis is, the persona that I have, he's a little douchey. He's a little satanic. He's everybody,
Right.
He's got that, whatever. It's just, it makes it kind of funny. I like the persona of that because it's such a, not really who I am, but when I'm Ellis, that's the kind of the whole thing.
Sure.
It's kind of the shtick.
Right. Yeah. So how did you like formulate that, come up with that? Did it just come to you or was it a work in progress? Is it still a work in progress?
Oh, no, I'm always a work in progress. I think we all are. Some more than others.
Sure.
So a friend of mine, Ophelia Rain, she was telling me one night when we were hanging out about how she got started and how she got tattooed, how she got plastic surgery, she changed her image, she did all these things to be where she was. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? I think I could be a tattoo model. So I just kind of followed her template. And that kind of took me to a certain level. And I was like, okay, I'm going to maybe, start doing photo shoots. And I started trying to really get into good shape and everything. And, then Evelyn and I were talking about stuff and this and that. And then all of a sudden, her and I discussion, then we got into, Alterotic with Ivan and doing some of their tattoo content. And that's how it got started. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. I think a good persona, alter ego, if you will, is like clutch in any, if you play sports, if you fucking are a podcaster, whatever. I think you got to have a good version of yourself that's not quite you on a daily that you can slip into and then have that be the excuse for all the stuff you do.
Well, for me, it's kind of like tattoo. I mean, like for me, like porn is kind of like, it's a performance. So why not perform it? You know what I mean? It's just like, if you can, it's just, it's just who it is. I mean, there's a lot of, that's just my take on it. I mean, people are just who they are and they just like to fuck and they're into the whole thing. And, Ellis is kind of this funny thing. I mean, it is me, but it's just fun, doing little skits with it. I really like doing because that just makes it like the old school porn that I remember. The gardener could never get a drink from the hose outside. He always had to come inside. Right.
For the glass of lemonade. So, okay. What's something that Ellis would do that you would not? You can give me anything.
Jesus. He's already doing things I would not do. This whole thing has just been, such an incredible experience and journey. And I'm just like, I think about my life like what it was like 2 years ago and then what it is today. And I'm like, I just can't believe I'm the same person. It's like, I don't think I would have believed myself if I told me that, like, hey, by the way, when you do this, you're going to become a tattoo porn star. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. And on that tip, right, on that notion, I mean, talk about how your life's changed. I mean, what was it like entering? And you haven't been in the porn game itself very long, right? How long has it been?
November is going to be a year.
Okay. So we're coming up on a year in a couple months. And so,
coming up on a year. Yeah. So it's been, and I was like, man, I've shot like 7 scenes in a year. First starting out, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm kind of onto something. Maybe this is working and I don't see that it is or it isn't, and I'm just, grateful for opportunities. I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's something here. So I'm just going to keep pursuing it and keep doing it. And so getting into it, and having the experiences that I've had opened my eyes to a lot of it. So when I first did it, I was like thrown in the deep end. I had no idea what the up is down, left is right. This is so weird to me. And I just did not, it was such a weird experience. So after that one, and then the ones afterwards, they keep getting better and better and better. And then I'm controlling more of the content I'm putting out too. So it just gets better every time. And then I meet some other people, and then they lead to other people, and it just starts getting better, and you just start getting your name out there. And I just found that being a respectable person and showing that, this is a business too, and you respect it, it really helps out, and you'll find the right people. But if you're just in it just to be a douchebag and you just want to fuck chicks, you're not going to last long. You're really not. You're not going to.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you're fucking rude and nobody wants to and you get a name for yourself in any field, but in porn, like you're literally putting your penis inside someone. And if you're a dick about it, it's going to not go well for you.
Well, it's funny because like sex for us, for men, is on the outside. Sex for women is on the inside. So you got to think about that too. I mean, it's just, some don't give a shit, well, whatever. But like, there's some, like when you have a vibe with somebody and you have that kind of interest, it shows very much on camera. That chemistry can't be faked. So that's where it's just kind of like, that's where it's fun too. Because when you see those kind of scenes, those are the ones you like. When there's just no chemistry and you're like, ugh, yeah. It's just awful. It's awful.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, and you can't fake chemistry. We talk about that a lot on the show. I had Tori Black on a few months back, and I mean, she's the queen of chemistry, and it's like we talked about how the camera is always going to capture real sexual chemistry between two people, regardless of if you are trying something that is not it's not in the script. Is what doesn't matter. It's just it's either there or it's not. And when you're an asshole, it's hard to have chemistry. Like complete chemistry with someone. And we hear stories all the time. Obviously, I would never mention any names, but I mean, we hear stories all the time.
Yeah, what that's the thing is, if you hear one story, it's not a big deal. You hear 3, 4, 5, then okay, well, this is this person's MO. So if 5 different people you've spoken to have said the exact same thing about somebody, then you're starting to get to it. And if it's that exact, there's got to be some truth to it, or or it's just believed. So if it's even that, and the fact is like, well, somebody got led this way somewhere. So, I just take it, and that's the thing. Everybody talks shit. I mean, that's just how it is. People are just shit talkers. They just normally are, and they don't mean it, but they're just like, But there's a difference between when it's like serious and when it's just like you don't like somebody. So definitely,
of course. Okay, so you've been in the game almost a year. You got this what I think is innovative, like the tattoo, before, during, or after, which I will jump more into in a second. But when you started, was your first scene? I mean, all 7 scenes are this tattoo concept, or were you doing something before that?
I was doing anything before that.
Okay.
So like this is all just jumping in the deep end. There's I'm not a performer. I am a tattoo artist. So now I'm learning to be a performer and a tattoo artist. So when I first started tattooing, I wasn't very good at it. I'll admit I'd work on it a lot.
Sure.
I still do. So same thing with performing. You just work on it. I mean, you're going to hit those pitfalls. I mean, it's never always, people say, oh, it's such an awesome job. And sometimes it is. And then sometimes it fucking sucks. And it's like, it can be very humbling very quickly. So it's just how it is. And that's the thing is, it's like, we have to react physically, and we can't fake any of our performance. So if it's a bad day on set, it's a bad day. You just have to get through it. You have to figure it out. And that's where becoming a performer and doing these scenes and being in these situations make you a better performer. So you can't grow unless you have any struggle. People don't understand that. And you understand, like, this is a business too, and it's not just always what you think it is. It's not just, we're going to fuck bitches all the time. No, this is a job. Sure. This is work. This is creation. This is not just, that's a fun part of it when it vibes and then everything's going good. So that's great too. That's an added bonus. But, primarily it's the work. And that's what attracts to me the most is the art of all of it. The creation of it. That's the part that really gets me going too. So it's just, it's interesting to say the least. It's not for everybody.
No shit. But your first scene, was that a scene where you tattooed someone?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's so yeah, you're right in that right from the jump.
Yeah, right from the jump. There was no prep. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if some people might do good their first time out. You just never know. Some
Sure.
people might, some people may not. I mean, that's just something that that's a lot to throw at somebody their first time.
Yeah. 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 Right. Exactly.
Never done anything like that.
So it's you in these scenes. It's you and another woman, and you're not discriminating against body types at all. Okay, so do most people opt for before with the tattoo or after or during?
I have not. Oh, you mean performer or people that watch the content?
Performer.
It's up to them. It's their discretion.
Which one gets chosen the most, would you say?
Right. If they choose it during, great. If they want to do it afterwards, great. If they want to do it before, great. I always have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
I personally like to do it before or after. That's even better. So then it's not even like, that the pressure's not on to be like in between. That's difficult. And that's a difficult one. And it's, still getting better at it. But at the same time, if I'd prefer not to.
Yeah. Do you keep the tattoos a certain size? Obviously they would have to be kind of not a whole back
2
piece.
hours. I mean, that's optimal for, 2 hour tattoo. I mean, you got to think about this. People don't get this. Like, this is an all day process. Like, this is like a 2 hour tattoo, full setup, full tear down, full ink, everything, aftercare, all that stuff. Then to actual content, different positions, different this, different that. It takes its toll, man. It is not for the weak. So you got to be, you got to be on your game because it's like, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do a tattoo afterwards sometime because then I can just sit and just focus on my work.
Yeah. I mean, that seems so much easier than trying to do it during, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So out of the 7 people that you've worked with in the 7 scenes, have most people chosen to do it during, before, or after? That's what I was trying to ask.
In the beginning, I didn't get to choose. That was already predetermined. Okay.
Right.
So those 2 scenes, I didn't get to choose that one, but everyone since then, they've been able to choose.
Yeah. Okay. And what do they choose?
Usually it's afterwards.
Okay.
You know, because their endorphins are still going pretty good from all the whatever we were doing. And then, it's an experience, man. Hydration.
Yeah. You gotta have we're big on water breaks. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, you know that I'm constantly slugging from like 4 different. We have water and sparkling water, and a lot of the times, 1 or 2 sugar-free Red Bulls over here. We call them water breaks. You can't have a sex party without a water break.
Yeah.
You have to hydrate people. I mean, Gatorade is a thing, right? So for a reason. So there's that. And so it's for now, it's just you and one other partner. Do you think at any point that you'll start bringing in multiple partners while you do this?
I have one of my scenes is a threesome scene. I mean, 2 of them are threesome scenes. So yeah, it has gone to that too. So there has the 2 of my scenes out of the 7 were threesome scenes.
Okay.
So, yeah. So all that's yeah.
So we're already there.
Yeah. Now I'm here. I'm like,
right. And you, what is your style? Like is it more of a gonzo scene? Or are you doing more of like, and for those in the audience who don't know, gonzo means it's just, there's no script. It just, whatever happens.
Some of gonzo, some of it is, we do have like a little bit of a script, like a little bit of a skit that we do. We have a couple lines here and there. So it kind of works. It's fun,
Yeah, the story stuff I think is getting more and more important in porn, especially as people like kind of, I don't want to say get bored, but they can watch people fucking 10,000 different websites. And so sometimes they opt for, I need a little setup. I need a little drama. I need to know what's going on. Is she there because she hates her dad and wants a tattoo that says, or whatever, right? We
want to hear something. We want to see a little entertainment. We want a little more foreplay in the brain first.
Yeah, the psychological piece of, why some runaway girl might show up at a tattoo shop and the big bad Ellis is there. I mean, like that, people need that, I think, these days. So I think you're doing a service.
Yeah. that's kind of like what the setup is a little bit. They come in, they're like, we make it like they have an appointment. We're gonna start their tattoo, and then they're like, I was told I get a discount if I use the code word, and then they say the code word, and I'm like, okay, well for that one, it's gonna be payment first. So then they take care of me, and then I tattoo, and then we have a little bit. Oh, my tattoo's gonna be so good if you fuck this good, like things like that. It makes it fun.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, this kind of shit. I'm like, yeah. Your tattoo's gonna come out so fucking good. It's just fun. It's just fun. When it gets to like that, then it's fun. Then it's really good.
Yeah.
And so you start really getting into it. Yeah, it's just get in the moment, man. It's just
Yeah, no, I love that shit. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome when two people can let go and just fucking give in and have fun and see where it goes. What's your style, right? Like, are you giving these women facials? Are you coming inside them? Is it a mix of both?
So that's pretty much what I do.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cream pie is a huge thing in porn. Actually, I think it's getting more popular than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Which is, brings up a whole other set of topics that we could talk about. It's I've heard stories and whatever, but it is very, very popular, a bit on the dangerous side, and that's why it's popular. So it fits with the Ellis persona. Right. Yeah,
it does. It's just kind of, it's fun. And it's just, I'm so grateful for the people that I have shot with. They've all been fantastic and they've all been really good. So, and I'm grateful for that. Like there's been so much good things that have happened so far that I'm like, really like, okay, well, this is awesome. It's such an experience. I'm not promoting it. I'm not downing it. None of those things. I mean, it's an experience. So I'm excited to see what next year is like.
Oh God. Yeah. And so, obviously you're a male porn star, right? And we have, we've only had one other male porn star on the show. And I really want to get into this topic a little bit because, for the women listening, for the men listening that are just curious, right? Because male porn stars, I think innately are rare because they're there, but no one, we're not, the women are the stars of the show in porn, obviously.
Right. Sometimes we're just a meat prop.
Exactly.
Basically, it's just, that's what it is. It's a whole, we're basically, a meat prop. So there's that.
Stunt cock.
Right. Yeah. Right. So there's that too with it. Plus like not a lot of guys can do this. And that's like where people don't understand. It's like, oh, you want to be a porn star? Cool. Okay. Well, invite a bunch of your dude friends over, have them watch you jerk off and have them come on command. You can do that. You could probably be a porn star, but it's sometimes it's like that. It's just like, but that's why it's called a performance. You got to get in there. You got to make it work.
Yeah. What have been some of the things that you weren't like, you were like, wow, I didn't know this was going to be a factor for me. Maybe, whether positive or negative. Because I think everybody thinks male porn stars and, performers, I think that they're just like snorting Viagra and doing like dick pumps and like,
you can do those things. There are physical things you can do, but you gotta understand something. It's all in the head. There's nothing. If that's not working, then your body's not working. It's not that you can't do it. It's like, there's a lot of pressure. You don't know what the dynamic is on set. You don't know if you're having an off day. You're not in, it's just a vibe. There's a lot of factors sometimes. And there are things that can help you get through it, and there's a lot of people take that stuff. And you got to understand something. It's a job. It's a performance job, and they're performance enhancement. So because sometimes you just got to do it, but over time, when you find your groove and what works, then you don't really, I have it as a backup, like just in case, like if there's any problems at all, I got my go-to. So, that's what it is. And that's, it's a very physical thing too. And it's people just, what they're thinking about it is like not like you think it is. It's really not. If you want an accurate assessment, I think Boogie Nights kind of plays it really well a little bit in that aspect, a little tongue in cheek, but they're kind of in that right zone.
Yeah. Well, and now, we've had a couple guys on the show talk about it, including Nate, Mr. Nasty, like that people are they're injecting their penis with something in a fucking needle, and then it gets so hard that you have to inject it after the scene with another needle to bring it back down, which is absolutely insane. I mean, that's absolutely insane. What'd you say? I didn't hear it.
Penicillin, yeah. There are some that are that extreme. Yes, he's absolutely right. There are some that are. There are some that aren't that extreme. There are different versions of that stuff. So if you're going to do any of that stuff, I would recommend seeing a doctor who specializes it. That way you don't get fucked up. So that's something you don't want to have fucked up. But he's absolutely right. There is extremes like that where they'll put this thing in it and then they have to put something else in it to make it go down because all the blood constricts. It's called Trimix. It's like one of the mixtures in it. I'm not a doctor, so don't quote. Way above my pay grade. This is my understanding of it. To clarify that. So one of the drugs in it brings all the blood to it. Another drug constricts it from going back down, and then another drug keeps it for a certain time. So it's all this shit together, like boop, and that's and then to go. But then some of it is so extreme that you have to use an antidote to release all those, so it just goes right back inside you. I mean, that's
insane.
Yeah,
it's fucking totally crazy.
You can really permanently damage your dick. So people need to be very serious. If you're going to do that, please consult the doctor because it's not a fun experience if you get fucked up from it. And don't taking it from someone on set either because you don't know what the fuck they're taking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here, dude. Shoot your dick up. Oh, okay.
And getting a surgery to put a fucking rod in your penis, then you hit a button. You're pumping up a button below your balls.
Yeah, they have the pump. Yeah.
Oh god, that's insanity.
You get your thing going there.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
There's vacuum. I mean, okay, so the pump like that, and then the shot. You don't have to be aroused. That just works. So you don't have to be in your headspace. You're just ready to perform. So that's where sometimes taking that will take the edge off too. If the performer's like, okay, now I don't have to worry about this. This motherfucker is good to go.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, well, I don't have to worry about wood issues today. We're fucking pounding until tomorrow. But that's the thing though. You can't, that's the thing that if you use it for every scene, you're going to have problems. So you'll really, then you can't do it without it. So that's for me when I researched all this stuff that it's if I do anything like that, it's merely for backup just in case. Not, I don't have problems like that. So if there is a problem, then I'm going to use that. So that's just where it goes. So that's, it's not the extreme, the one that Nate's talking about either. But I mean, that's a bad one.
Yeah. And I think just the mental sort of, the mental sort of confidence you get from what do they call that? Placebo effect you get from popping a Blue Chew or something. That should be enough for mostly anybody if they're having any kind of, but what people don't understand is you could do that. And if you're nervous up here, it's still not going to fucking go.
You have to be in most of those pills work by you getting aroused and getting in the mood. If you don't get in the mood, that's the one thing they did on Tosh.0. They had a bunch of guys take Viagra and then have them watch gay porn to see if they would get a boner. Not one of them did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome. They were like, all right, let's see if stuff works. But it's no, you have to be in the headspace. Poor guys were probably so grossed out. And they're like, can you imagine how nervous they were? Oh, please don't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. I remember when he did that. And what are your tips? What do you do, right? If you're feeling a little nervous, do you meditate?
I smoke weed.
Okay. But
I smoke weed. For me, there's some people that take different stuff. Everybody has their process, man. So, I'm not going to lie. I do smoke weed. I can't really, it's just one of those things that just helps, and I use, CBD products and things like that. That's my go-to because those are the best, but I'm not going to reveal all the secrets.
I don't expect you to.
I was like, dude, my motherfuckers at home writing this shit down.
Yeah, hell yeah, they're writing it down. I mean, you know, they want to know from someone who's doing it, you know, maybe how they can get over some of their performance anxiety with their girlfriend. I mean, it's a legit thing. And then no one talks about the idea that you take a Viagra, you take a Blue Chew, a Cialis, a Rose Sparks. Any of you are welcome to sponsor this podcast. Hello, right? But like, yeah,
you get at the fucking gas station. That shit, the Rhino strength.
and then they're like, oh my God, even this isn't working. Something's wrong with me. And then they develop this like self-fulfilling like hatred, I suck cycle. And then they got to see a fucking therapist about it, you know?
Just go see, go see an ED doctor. I mean, just if that's what's going on, it could be something as simple as you might have low T. Could be something. It could be a really quick thing that you didn't even know about,
or you're fucking thinking about it.
It could be something that you just caught in time, and you're gonna fix this issue. So, you know, there's a bunch of options. So don't be afraid. You know, it's just go see a doctor and go have it looked at. I mean, if you're having intimacy issues with your girlfriend, it could just be like, could be anxiety. There could be a bunch of factors. So don't beat yourself up. It's a very physical thing, and sometimes it happens. So it's what it is.
Yeah, and now we're into this age where like the women are basically, you know, setting up appointments for their boyfriends to talk with the doctor online about their Blue Chew prescription and whatever. And that I think that's fucking awesome, right? Because as men, sometimes, especially old school dudes, are like, I'm not talking to fucking anybody about anything, you know. And so now, you know, but it can be intimidating, you know?
That's a man thing, man. You know, being thought of as less of a man. That's kind of a psychological thing, dude. You know, it's just like, you're thought of less as a man. So you got to get in there. You know, that's the one thing, you know. And don't be comparing yourself to porn stars either. I mean,
it's entertainment.
Yeah, don't be comparing yourself, because there's, there's a reason that we are, you know, to understand something. Only, I think it's like, what is it? Something like 20% of the male population is above average. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, I mean, don't have on unhinged expectations of what you're supposed to be. Because we're doing extreme.
Extreme. Okay.
So we're not the bar that you need to set yourself as, you know.
No. Yeah. Everybody chill. Everybody take a water break. Just chill out for a second. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that shit is psychological too, and I think they said 90% of ED is psychological, which is insane.
I will say this: if you're going to be a male porn star, try not to tell people about it.
Yeah,
people make jealous, man. They really do. I've had experiences where, I mean, I was talking to just somebody about it, like a friend of mine, and somebody overheard, and it caused a lot of drama where I was, and I was like, "Holy smokes, man!" I was like,
"How so?"
I was talking to a friend about it. She danced at one of the strip clubs in San Diego, and we were just hanging out at the bar. And we were just doing stuff, and we were talking about it. And I was sexting somebody when I was talking to her, and he happened to look over my shoulder, and all hell broke loose in our conversation, and he got all aggro, and it was just one of these weird things, man. It was like, she was like, "You were looking at my phone." And you make a big deal about looking at my phone. Obviously, what he saw, I guess, made him not feel good about himself, and he got really pissed off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just be careful. Be careful where you're at, because, you know, you just never know. Not everybody's a fan of what you do, and not everybody's supportive. We're in it. We think it's cool, but not everybody else does.
Right. Yeah. A lot of civilian dudes are going to get fucking super jealous. Fucking cause civilians. That's the thing is even just hosting this podcast and teasing things and like whatever, people like I've gotten so like, I knew I was going to get hatred, you know. I've been at this for 3 years in February, and the amount of like, I will fucking kill you when I see you DMs that I get from, and it's never a woman, it's always a man, and he always looks like potentially he lived in some basement that turned into a cave or something, and he hasn't left in 4 years. So it's like, you know, they're in the comments. I appreciate the engagement, but the level of, you're a man talking to mainly women daily about sex and whatever, it must just do something to the brain of somebody who's a jealous fuck, you know?
It's funny you say that because I DJ'd a strip club. And I was just fucking around one day and I said, hey, remember, this isn't high school. These girls will actually talk to you. And a customer got really upset at me. Like, he was in the booth, like yelling at me. I was like, what the fuck, man? I was like, it's just a joke. Obviously, he didn't talk to too many girls in high school, so he took that personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking, that motherfucker was mad. I was like, easy, big fella.
Yeah, you can tell where somebody's insecurities are by just like saying a simple comment. I think recently, and I'm not going to get political, but we're just going to put it out there. Recently, in this last presidential debate, Kamala Harris said people are leaving his rallies, and Donald Trump's eyes just like it was like that Kill Bill. Wah, wah, wah.
Like, what did you just say?
Oh yeah, and he snapped, and so he's a size queen about his rallies, and so that people will get triggered. And the thing with you in the strip club, it's not high school. They'll actually talk to you. That guy had some serious trauma in high school that he couldn't escape. Obviously,
yeah. I just kind of ruined his night at the titty bar.
Yeah, and listen, strip club DJs are an institution in this country, and we need to treat them better. Do not try to attack the strip club DJ. It's what the fuck? It's already a hard enough job.
So different these days, how it's run and what it's evolved into, the strip club business. I mean, it is what it is, man. And I remember a certain time when it wasn't like that. It was like this, and that time was awesome. And then I'm like, this new time, I'm like, sometimes I feel like a dinosaur up there. I'm like, man, I haven't done any of this shit in so long. And then it's, I've been a manager of a strip club before. So like, I know certain things and I've experienced them firsthand. So I know how to run stuff like that.
Yeah.
Watch people, not do, I wouldn't say they're doing a bad job. It's not the job that I would do. It's not the way I would approach it. I have to just sit back and you're just a DJ, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They don't really get. Yeah, they don't really
care.
Yeah, they know everything. Just, you don't know nothing. It's like, okay.
Sure.
It made me an effective GM too. It's like, there's a million good ideas out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world. But if I hear a good idea and I know it's a good idea, I'll try to make that idea work. I was like, that sounds pretty good. How are we going to make that work? Mm-hmm. Then you start building more. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, a lot of times it's like back to formula, right? It's like you have all these women here who can somewhat dance. You got a DJ who can crank the music. You got customers with money. There you go, right?
Customers with money. How do you get more of those to your club? That's the problem. And that's where they're running into the problem. Like this club has been on for a long time. It's one of the most popular clubs. But then they got to that point where, okay, the dynamic has changed.
Yeah.
You need to change too. Like we need to change because this isn't working anymore. After COVID and everything, things have completely 180'd in the club business. So
totally,
you have to really, the same as the porn, a lot of things have. So you just have to just be able to adapt, watch the trends and just be authentic. I think that's the thing that makes me stand out between, in my performance is that I'm authentic. I'm who I am. I'm not just,
Yeah. Well, and speaking of trends and adapting, you're also doing OnlyFans. So what has the OnlyFans experience been like for a man?
You have to show a lot of solo stuff, things like that. I'm still building mine. I've had a really good friend of mine, Thor. He's been showing me some stuff and teaching me how to do those things. So, and then, showing, things that I don't necessarily show all the time. I don't really show to anybody. Now I'm going to have to take pictures and showing that. So I feel like the Step Brothers scene where he was like, I spin my butt cheeks. It's my costume.
Okay, so on OnlyFans, it's currently, if someone were to go there right now, it's a lot of you beating off to certain things, or
there's a couple things of that. There's some scenes, there's some actual posing, there's some actual workout videos on there, things like that. So it's still evolving. Everything is just kind of, since I just started doing this, like jumping in the deep end, like I did to begin with, there was a lot of back end stuff I didn't know about. So now I'm kind of going back and redoing all the things, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but it's all, it works out how it works out. I'm not better mad. I'm just like, okay, well, these people are showing me stuff now. Now it's starting to work. So now I'm just taking all that knowledge and just implementing it.
Oh my God. As long as you're not under attack, we're good. There's jet fighters.
My ride. I'm going to have to.
Right.
Make a great podcast of like the helicopter landed and fucking dudes. And
dude.
Yuri came out and arrested me, but like, it'd be the greatest podcast ever.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It would be like a fucking episode of 24. Okay. And so you're doing this solo stuff.
It's actually a really good idea. Ellis Camino gets kidnapped. He has to escape the prison by fucking all the girls.
Yeah, there you go. Take that idea and run with it. I don't think anyone's done a 24 parody in porn yet.
That would be hilarious. Oh my God.
Like the interrogation, the Jack Bauer style interrogation.
Yeah. The next 4 fucks.
That's awesome.
That's how you have to do it like that. He has 4 hours to almost all 24 hours.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Back to OnlyFans.
That's a really good parody to do. I mean, that's almost like John Wick style too. That would be kind of fun too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I haven't seen any John Wick porn parodies yet. Okay, so the OnlyFans thing. So let's just cap that off. So you're doing solo content. You're doing posing. Are there boy-girl scenes over there or no?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I didn't quite hear that.
Are there boy-girl scenes over there on OnlyFans or no?
For me, yes. There's boy-girl scenes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then you're still working up your confidence to show your asshole.
Yeah, I'm still working up. Yeah, they're still working up on that. You know, I'm starting to – I have to some places I started growing hair, so it's just kind of weird for me right now.
Well, it's important to talk about because men don't realize that you can do OnlyFans, number one. And number two, if you're going to do OnlyFans, you're going to have gay clientele. You're going to have gay men who want to watch you jerk off. They want to see your asshole. And like, regardless of how if you're straight, queer, bi, curious, it doesn't matter. Like that's going to be a large part of your cash paying customer base is men. So
that's when you realize you're like, oh, who gives a shit? Just look at my butthole.
Exactly. Yeah.
Big deal. It's like, you look at my dick. Okay. You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not like when I started doing it, I was like, oh man. And it's just the insecurity of you filming yourself is kind of the hardest part. You're like, because we judge ourselves so much. I'm like, oh man, I need to work out more on my abs. You do this. I'm just always, it's always final. So you have to like try to put yourself in the best light. So, it's a process.
Totally. Okay. We're moving. We're at the end of the episode. We're going to, obviously wrap this up. The helicopter is going to circle back around and nab you probably, but, you have a casting call, right? For women for your tattoo/sex content. Tell me about the casting call and then tell me how they can get involved if they want to be involved.
So the casting calls we're putting out to all body types, who want to make content, who want to do tattoo content. We'll set it up individual basis, scene by scene. We'll do all that stuff. You'll get all the footage for it. You get a free tattoo, and you also get a little mini movie that goes along with it that I'll edit and put together. So you'll get all of that. So great way to get started, a great way to like show yourself out there. And it's we're going to be doing San Diego, LA, Las Vegas right now. And if it gets better, we'll go all the way out to Florida, but we'll just see first. We're just doing this first. It's just, just a chance to get out there and make some content, do something that's kind of on the cutting edge. I think it's been around for a while, but right now it just seems like it's getting momentum for some reason. So I want to definitely capitalize on it while it's going strong. So this is like getting it on the ground floor, so to speak, like a Suicide Girls or things like that. I mean, this is kind of like where this is starting at. I was like, this should have huge potential because eventually I want to go behind the camera and just do girls tattooing girls and then other male tattoo guys and then just start really building a whole kind of thing around it. So, and that's where I thought, like, if I'm going to do something like this, I want to be in front of the camera too. So I can kind of, so when I'm behind the camera more, I can be that director that can help male talents. I've been there, hey, all good, try to, whatever you need, just make it work. I think there's a lot of directors that didn't be in front of the camera that have never done it. So they're not really understanding of certain things. So now that I've been in front of it, just the experience that I've had, I think it makes me a better director.
No, totally. I think everything you're doing is incredible. Where can they? Is there a website they can go to see the casting call?
They can go to my Twitter account, which is Ellis Camino 666. That's also my Instagram, Ellis Camino 666. Everything is in building stages, so just hit me up and we'll make something work. Awesome.
Where can they find you on OnlyFans?
Ellis Camino 666.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Everybody. Yeah. Well,
I hate coming up with different shit all the time. So it works and it's the same one. That's the one I try to use for all of it.
Yeah. Do you want to hear at the end? Do you want to tell the Jack Daniels story?
All right, tell the Jack Daniels story. Okay. Well, it's a whiskey story, but it's kind of like that. So
sure.
I was at my shop in San Diego and we were all, sometimes during the day, because we're tattoo artists on the beach, we'll go across the street and we'll have a drink. So sometimes we'll have 2 drinks. And then sometimes we'll have more drinks. All depends on the day and what's going on. But I never would get to a point where I could not tattoo. Like if I had 2 drinks, I was like, I'm done for the day. I'm not going to tattoo anybody. That's not responsible. So, but if I had like one, like a couple hours past, no biggie. But like, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. So, but that's kind of like the whole thing about being an outlaw tattoo artist. I'm an old school guy. So that's how I was brought up in the shop environment. So we've been doing this for a while. Then my friend who was tattooing with me, one of my artists, he brings that Proper 12, that Ewan McGregor stuff, right?
Yeah, I have a bottle of it right back here. Yep.
Okay, that stuff. Okay, so he loads everybody up. We all take a shot. Everyone's like doing the whiskey face. Everyone's like, holy fuck. I take a shot and I go, there's nothing wrong with that. And he's like, you are now officially a piece of shit. And I said, what do you mean by now? I've been a piece of shit for a while. Where have you been? Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, it was just the way he said it. I was like, you're officially now a piece of shit. If you don't make a wincing face when you drink whiskey, you're a piece of shit.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, no, I love it. Proper 12. I mean, again, let's talk Proper 12. But dude, Conor McGregor's whiskey, it's so fucking good. I don't make a face either. So maybe I have the same. Maybe I'm a piece of shit too. But I've known I'm a piece of shit for a long time. So, high five.
We'll seal the deal. If we ever meet in person, and we'll do a couple of Proper 12 shots. We'll see if you make the fuck.
Yeah. We'll meet at AVN or something and hang out.
You do like a hot ones challenge with that. Who makes the whiskey face?
Dude, that's a fucking killer idea.
Yeah.
See, we got all these ideas going. We're trading ideas. Fuck yeah. Ellis Camino, thank you so much for being with me on Sex Party. Listen, I think you're a fucking innovator, and I think the level of success you're going to have in the next year and the year after is going to eclipse anything you could even fucking dream of. I think you were right when you sort of like mentioned the way that the Suicide Girls exploded this thing. I think you're onto something, man. I think it's bigger than most people would even dream that it would be. So,
well, from your lips to Satan's ears, man. I hope
so. he's listening, so that's good. But thank you so much, man, for being on the show.
It's been awesome. This has been, you know what? Even though the first one was good, I think this one was a million times better, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and I can't wait to have you back. So we'll have to set that up. So. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dustin.
Big thank you to my guest, Ellis Camino, for being on the show with me this week. He's only the second male to be on the show in a solo capacity behind Nade Nasty. If you're loving guests like Ellis, you want to see more of him, he'll be back in some capacity at some point. I can't say anymore. But you're loving guests like Ellis, you're loving Sex Party. You just want more Sex Party, and rightfully so. You want to show some love, some gratitude, some appreciation for the show. How can you do that? Okay, well, if you're listening to this on platforms like Apple and Spotify, you could leave a rating, you could leave a review. Those things are lovely, but fuck it. You don't want to do those. What you want to do, and this is important. You want to make sure you're subscribed to the show so you never miss a brand new episode of Sex Party every single Wednesday, especially if you're subscribed or you think you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts. Apple's been unsubscribing people. Not sure what's going on. Here's what you do. Go to Apple Podcasts. Go to Sex Party with Dustin Rybka. Go in the upper right-hand corner. There's some sort of icon. If you see a check mark, you're good. If you don't see a check mark, if you see a pause button or something, hit that. Drop down menu will appear. Click resume downloads. Boom, you're resubscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. I appreciate you very much. If you're watching on YouTube, do you have any tattoos? And if so, what are they? Leave it in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, what can you do to express the desire for more Sex Party? You could like this video. You could like all the videos. You could leave comments. I love interacting with you guys. But what you really want to make sure you do, can you guess what I'm going to say? You want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss a brand new episode of Sex Party every single Wednesday. As always, I'm available in the DMs on Instagram. And I will see you all right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter @SexPartyFM. Follow Dustin @DustinRybka.